Hey everyone, Corrie here coming in to do my weekly channel message. This message is for the week of March the 21st all the way through until the weekend, probably till like the 27th, maybe for the whole month, who knows. So there's a lot of shifting energy, and welcome to Aries season. We just shifted into Aries season, and Aries season is coming with a bit of a bang. So there is a lot of potential and a lot of great opportunities that is opening up in the energy. So it's also an opportunity for us to be nicer, kinder, more compassionate, more caring, more willing to be open our eyes and our hearts to listening to each other, to be present, to helping, whatever we can do. And, and those things make a difference when we have such things that are happening in the world that are out of our personal control. They can be changed by people in power and in control, but you know how that works. So the energy for this week is bringing in also some stormy weather. So riding the storm. And so we do have some stormy weather. I have this feeling, this sense, I just keep seeing like this tornado blowing, and I don't know where there's about to be a tornado or where there's some tornado warnings that's coming in this week. But there is some tornadoes, and I'm feeling the tornado. Like I can hear the wind in my ears. Like as I'm here, I'm like, it's like in the energy. It's like I can hear the, and I can feel it. And just like how I can feel the earthquakes, I can feel the tornadoes. It's like I want to move. I want to shift from the energy. So wherever that is, wherever it's happening, we pray that it doesn't have such an, doesn't have. We hope it dies down, right? We hope it dies down. Hope it doesn't, hope it just sees a funnel cloud and it goes away. Hope there is a divine intervention to keep it from fully happening. So I don't know where exactly it is though, but I do know there is one. I can feel it, sense it. I do feel like it's maybe US is where I'm picking, where I feel like I'm picking it up. Probably lower down, which would make sense, but the lower down, so I don't know if it's through like Texas or I don't know. I just see it's down. It's like I see it looks like this. I don't know why. I don't know if that's the area it's hitting or how it's coming in, but I see it. And so that's there. Just, we can't stop Mother Nature. Sadly, we can't do those things, but Mother Nature does what Mother Nature does. So that's there. So bring that in perspective into ourselves. Is where do we have a tornado of energy happening within ourselves? Are you aware of it? We have a lot of it feels like a lot of transitions that's happening in our own energy this week, and in the universal energy out there, it feels like there's a lot of transition that's happening. So the Eye of the Beholder, Queenie, is coming up. And we also got 4 cards just came out. So I'm going to trust them to be where we are. And of course, this is my deck, the Everyday Goddess Oracle cards, which is inspiration and attitude. And we work on the mind, body, soul connection. So I say, whatever is happening in the universal energy, we bring it into ourselves, bring it in, and how is it's impacting and affecting us. So we have the Eye of the Beholder. And this is on, this is on, as much as I hate them, because I'm in the middle of packing because I have to move. So this is on for a reason. So behind me doesn't look, it's not well staged. And so this is, where are we? This is, there's the 3 versions of us, right? It's that self, or not true self, our higher self. And then there is our being, our enlightened self. And to get to our enlightened self is we have to stop being a master manipulator of our own stories and our own truth. And also we see this, that we can't change the weather. So, nothing that we're going to do is going to change some of the storms that are around us. No matter how much you try to manipulate the energy, no matter how much you try to fawn it over, and how much you try to smooth it over, how much you try to be a pleaser, there is situations in our lives that are unfolding that are almost feels like it is fated in our personal experiences that we're going to have to experience no matter how much we try to avoid them. And so settling ourselves in, being kind to ourselves, being gentle to ourselves is so important this week. And so this Mavis brings up that volcano-y energy, but it's also having our head in the clouds and being a bleeding heart. So don't be allowing yourself to respond from the complexity of the trauma responses of fear this week in areas where you're trying to grasp and hold on to even an old version of yourself, an old life, an old story, an old emotional connection, whatever it may be. The dismantling of so many things around us is happening partly because of our ascension, part of our own growth, part of coming out and moving through the existence of where we have been the last few years through the pandemic, through the lockdowns, through all of those. And now we are stepping up and stepping out, and we have a lot less tolerance for being told what we're allowed to do, for being tied down. And so that energy was really, truly had such power and manipulation for so long. And I just feel like it's like, now it's not, but areas in our own personal life, because we don't want to have to go through anything else. We're just tired. We don't want to have to go through anything else. Is that we're willing to accept things that are not acceptable. And where are you doing that within your own life? It could be your own behavior. It doesn't mean it's always somebody else. It's taking ownership and responsibility for our own lives. So where do you have an attitude? Where do you have an attitude like, let's just say, where do you have an attitude that's of you trying to, you want to say something and you're not, and you're suppressing it, and you can feel anger and frustration rising within you. And then when you have the opportunity, fear comes in and you find yourself being too freaking nice, too accommodating, too like, oh, I don't want to upset anyone, don't want to rock the boat. We've all been through enough. It's like sometimes we're avoiding the storms that have to happen because we've already told ourselves a story of what's going to happen on the other side of it. But what if that's not the story? What if everything that you need to say needs to be said to clear the air? So there's areas in our lives where we need to be able to clear the air, to clear out our own consciousness, to set ourselves free, some suppressed energy being repressed, but it's coming up in the not so healthy attitude that's then affecting our attitude towards ourselves, our lives, and the things around us. So, and by us, I refer to all that's in the collective energy. And so with that card then comes out as our future essence of ourselves. So the mind, the body. So this is where we are in our mind. We're in these storms. We're telling ourselves stories. This is the body, which is the middle card. And this speaks of our physical self and how we're acting, how our body's just jumping into gear to react, to respond from that trauma response, the fight, flight, freeze, fawn, all of those things, being aware of where we are having that the unhealthy reactive response and catching it and acknowledging that sometimes I got to be the eye of the storm, but I have to be aware of, where is this coming from? Is this coming from the me of today? Is this coming from my emotional connection to previous experience in the past? And am I checking in with my higher self? Am I crossing over the rainbow bridge to do as Jesus would do, to do as the holy would do, to do as the divine, to do as the angelic realm would do, to treat everyone and ourselves with some level of dignity, but also knowing the importance that your suppressed feelings and what you're holding in may not be very kind to you, because the anger, the frustration, the stories in your head is causing more storms than it needs to. So then our spirit connection, our mind, body, soul. So our soul connection to ourself, our soul connection to ourself. This is the essence of being in the crossroads of where we stand, and being able to stand in the middle road, in the middle ground, and to know that so many, including yourself, are vulnerable. We are exposed. We're safe, but not safe, and that we're in a new unknown. So it's like we are in a state of unknown right now, a lot of uncertainty. but we have to check in with ourselves to recognize where we're safe. So when you're looking out at the world or you're looking at others, it's the essence of kindness, but whatever you're holding back on may not be kind to you. So this week, it's about learning to be very kind to self. Also, you can be inspired by others, but not to become that competitive edge that, or that sense of envy, jealousy. Check in with your emotions, check in with yourself. Is this kind to me? Is it being kind to others? Am I caring enough about my own feelings that I have compassion for myself or for others? And that's very alive this week. And so then we rise up and out, and we always have that card that's going to, and this is from my deck, so it's like how my spread will be. And so then we'll have that card that comes out that is the fourth card. So our third card was actually a 33, and all cards that came out actually came out in 32, 34, and 33. All have a starting number of 3, which, all comes in the power of 3. So we have 32, which could be a 5, or it can be a 1. We have 34, which could be which could be also a 1, right? Which can also be a 1, or it could be a 7, right? Yeah, 7. It can also be can't add, or I can't do anything in the human world when trying to channel this through, which can also be a 7, right? And then we can have 33, which can also be a 6. So we have 5, 7, 6, or we have 1, 1, or we have 32, 34, 33, and 0. And so this is whole, new beginning. So this is our future card, is coming into that sense of wholeness, realness. And this is benevolence, which is Perphone. And Perphone and benevolence is about that level of kindness. If we can be anything, be as kind. If we want to be inspired by anybody, be inspired by somebody of the greatness of goodness within, that kind of knew to walk away from the restrictions and the fears and walk their own path and walk their own journey. And sometimes walking that journey and walking your own path is not going to be an easy path. It is difficult. Learning to be able to communicate and speak our truth without fear of the outcome is sometimes even more difficult, especially in relationships. And to have faith in what shall be is even harder again. And we are in that in our big world. We're in that every day in our big world. So knowing that it is safe for us to be allowed to be that, knowing that no matter, what is that, being kind to you sometimes comes at a cost. And if it's coming at a cost of somebody not having enough compassion, or unwilling or unable, or don't have the capacity within themselves to be able to connect and communicate in a healthy way, then maybe you need to let them go on their path and trust that if it's meant to be, they'll come back. Sometimes the most kind, loving thing that you can do, whether it's friendship, work relationships, whether it is love relationships, is to just say, I set you free. I set you free because I love you enough to let you go. And we do that with our children when we go into empty nest syndrome. And sometimes we have to be willing to do that in other areas of our lives, because everyone has to walk their own journey. And you have to trust that sometimes. And so our fourth card that comes out, which is that of the divine speaking through us, speaking to us with such love, compassion, and like grandmother energy, kick our ass sometimes. So this is the universal light of love. This is Lumarian, and she is raw. She is stripped down. And through my experiences and through writing all of my books and these cards, is that one of the biggest moments of my life was actually me in a very low moment when life was actually good in a lot of ways. But something had really hit me, and I had gone to this place of just emotional exhaustion and just being tapped. I just didn't even have nothing left to kind of put anywhere. And I think I had given out so much love and had put so much emphasis into getting myself into a healthy physical body that spiritually I was becoming depleted. Emotionally, I was becoming depleted. I had channeled so many messages, and I just said, I just can't do this. I just don't want to be here. And this Lumerian golden energy appeared, and it just spoke such a message of love to me. And it told me it was the Lumerian master. It was Lumerian master that was coming through. And the message was of love and light. And all I could see was this light. And I was curled up in a little ball in the bathtub, and I had no water even left in the tub. That's how tired I was. I was just sitting balled up. I might have been there like an hour, and I'm like, I can't even get out. Like, I don't even know where else to go. I don't even want to move. And this light just came through, and I just felt myself like, even though there was no water, even though I didn't fall back, but I felt myself falling into my heart, falling back into an essence of there's always more. There's always more love. There's always more energy. There's always more for us. It's in the consciousness. It is in the divine universal consciousness of pure intention, pure love. And that filling up on that love was going to come from me not wanting my wants to be fulfilled, or me wanting to give my all to everyone else. But it was about me stepping into a place of recognizing that I had needs. And I really, truly neglected my own personal needs for 90% of my life, that I didn't even realize that I couldn't even let myself nurture or fall into even my body having pain, myself being tired. I was always push, 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 go, go, go. So there was always some sort of battle, storm, and war that I was at, because I was always showing up in the sense of feeling guilty that I didn't do enough, feeling guilty that maybe, oh God, maybe that wasn't enough I did in class, or maybe I hadn't given out enough, maybe. And so there was always that energy. And then if I did speak a truth and it made someone feel like sad, or I felt like it was hurt, then there was no ending to how much punishment I would prosecute myself so deeply over that. Be aware of that within your own life. Acknowledge it, recognize it. And it's when it's been your whole existence, you don't see it. You just say, I'm tired. I feel like I'm lost. I don't know where I am. I just, you're second guessing yourself. You're filled with doubt. And then at the end of the day, when there's nothing left to give, then you try to give yourself something like a bath. So you feed yourself crumbs. And that's how we become a master manipulator also of our energy. And we're not very kind to ourselves, because we're doing the things that all we got left for ourselves is crumbs. Even where your thoughts are going and wondering how it's going to impact, affect, or who's going to be left in your circle, in your world. If you don't stand, if I speak up, they're not going to like it. If I say that I'm hurt, they're going to be offended. And all of those thoughts take you further away from actually being a true queen or king of your world. And that you have to own that in confidence and in courage and strength to know that. And it helps restore our sense of coming back into our virtuous self. And this is the state of grace, stepping into grace, showing ourselves mercy, showing other people mercy. And Lumerian it's like she blends with her angelic wings, and her hair all blends together. And she's naked. She is exposed. She is, she's untethered from everything else in the world. She's floating into, and she's making herself that sense of priority. And that's what they want us to do, is to, what is the priorities? What is most important? Where do I need to put my focus? And how do I bring this sense of awareness so that I can be at peace in a world that is not yet at peace? How can I be at peace and still know that I can be afraid of the unknown, but I'm not fearful of walking towards or walking into that unknown? That I know the unknown is the only place that I can go, and the unknown is the only thing that is really in our existence. And trusting that and being present in that brings you into that sense of being in the presence of the divine, being present in the beings and the love that is out there. And that's the being in the presence of our consciousness, which is greater than our subconsciousness, that is fed all the information that we get in our programming. This is deprogramming. This is getting disconnected from those stories and gaining wisdom, strength, and knowledge from the divine, from the absolute, and from that sense of pure love of and with pure intention of only what is of the highest good. And so that's our message for this week. Like I said, we do have this stormy energy. We do have this rocky back and forth, but we also are in the Aries season. So we have a lot of that fire now, that passion, that burning passion and desire that you cannot ignore and neglect within yourselves, because the opportunity to be true to you, to be kind to you, to nurture that within you is upon us right now. So hope this helps you somehow this week. Much love and have a beautiful week. And I will see you again next week or in any other live that I may be in. Much love. Mwah. Bye-bye.